The biggest problem most catchers have is by far they don't know how to move and they've never been taught. And because they don't know how to move, they are slow to block, they block incorrectly, it hits them in a spot where it's not supposed to hit them because they didn't move properly, they get afraid of the ball, they say, hey, catching's no fun. And even if they do like catching, if they don't know how to move correctly, they're gonna constantly be bouncing their glove because they're approaching the ball from the wrong way. So if you can teach catchers how to move correctly, they're going to be set up for the rest of their career really, really well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Anj Bourgeois, or Coach Bougie, and I help catchers all across the nation and even in other countries become better at catching. And the reason I love doing this is because when I was a junior in college, I played at Biola University with Coach Rack, if you know him. And when I was a junior in college, I transitioned from a middle infielder to a catcher, having never really caught before besides a few bullpens in high school, and learned what it takes to develop this skill quickly and how to catch at a high level. So with that being said, I want to tell you about Catch Core. It's a daily 4-week virtual catching coaching program that is designed to help you master the fundamentals of how to move in the 4 key areas that you have to know how to do as a catcher. So basically how it works, if you can imagine a calendar, you have 4 different weeks. Each week has a main focus. So the first week is stances, the second week is receiving, the third week is blocking, and the fourth week is throwing. The reason it's set up this way is because it's the number of times that things happen in a game. So typically when I hop on a call with people and I ask them, hey, how many times do you look to throw a runner out in the game? They say 3 to 8 times. Okay, great. How many times do you block? I know it changes, but generally speaking, if you had to give a range, about 10 to 30 times, depending on how many innings they're playing and what kind of pitchers they have on the mound. Okay, and then how many times do you receive in a game? Probably like 80 to 120 times. Great. So if that's true, then you're getting, let's say, 80 times and 15 times and 5 times. Let's just say 100 total pitches that you're receiving, blocking, and throwing on. How many times do you get into a stance? Well, you get into your sign stance, and then you get into either your primary or secondary or single knee, whatever you use. So you're doing 2 stances each pitch. So roughly 200 times every game you get into a stance. And so if you look at the numbers, it's about 200 stances a game, 80 to 120 times that you receive, 10 to 30 times that you block, and 3 to 8 times that you throw. So we want to focus on the things that happen most often. Now here's the thing. Most catching instructors, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to work with you on throwing. The reason we put so much focus on throwing is because it's the easiest thing to measure, not because it's the thing that's most important. The thing that's most important is the thing that has the most impact on the game, and how we can determine impact is the number of times something happens in a game with the actual effect that that thing has on the game. So throwing, while it doesn't happen as much, it can have a bigger emphasis. Or plays at the plate, while they don't happen that often, they're a big deal when they happen. We want to focus on doing the things, especially when you're beginning catching, that happen the most. So that's why we go stances first, then receiving, then blocking, then throwing, because it's the number of times things happen in a game. So that's the weekly structure, the 4 weeks, and then each day we have a progressive build on top of the previous day. So day 2 builds on day 1, day 3 builds on days 2 and 1, and we go all the way up. And so by the end of each week, you should have a really solid foundation of how to move as a catcher for that specific skill. So now that you understand a little bit about how the program works, let me tell you the 4 pillars of transformation that make it actually work for people just like yourself. So the first pillar of transformation is the plan. It's the strategy. It's knowing what to work on in what order. If you work on the wrong things in the wrong order, no matter how hard you work, probably not going to get that much better. I get a lot of dads who say, hey, I played college ball, I was an infielder, but I just don't know anything about catching. I don't know how to teach it. Well, that's the plan. That's the strategy. So that's the first pillar. Second pillar is the drill, because even if you have the plan, you have to have a way to work the plan. And the drill is the tool that we use to train the specific movement that we need in that part of the plan. So the plan is the blueprint, the drill is the specific thing that we're doing to help your body learn how to move. So you can find drills, but if you don't have the plan, then you're just going to be working on things randomly. The third pillar is feedback. And this is probably the most important pillar and the thing that most people are missing. The reason feedback is so important is because that's how you learn. There are some people who spend a lot of time working on something and don't get much better. And there's some people who spend a short amount of time, and because they get a ton of feedback, they get better really, really quickly. Well, if you do Catch core, you're gonna be in that second group that spends 4 weeks and gets a whole lot better because you're getting a ton of feedback. So there's 4 types of feedback that you get when you go into catch core. The first type of feedback is kinesthetic feedback. So that's just your body. That's why when you take a swing and you say, that didn't feel right, then you take another swing and you say, there we go, that felt right. That's your body giving you feedback on what's right versus what's wrong. So that's something that you'll get as you go through the program. The second type of feedback that you'll get is video feedback. Most catchers don't video themselves actually catching. They may video themselves hitting, but they oftentimes don't ever video themselves catching. And even if they do, they don't necessarily know what to look for. And then even if they know what to look for, they don't know necessarily how to fix it. But looking at yourself on video, watching me on video, and potentially seeing some other catchers on video as well, that's gonna help you to learn what good versus bad is so that you can do more of good and less of bad. Third type of feedback is a written feedback. The written feedback is going to be in a journal form, and it's gonna be in a well, better, how format. So most people don't even reflect, but if they do reflect, they only reflect on the bad things. So what we want to do with this well, better, how format is we want to train our mind to focus on the positives, and we're gonna identify 3 things we did well and only 1 thing we wanna do better, and then what our plan is on how to get better at that thing. Now, I oftentimes will have you put in a bonus section of learn, where you can just jot down any notes of anything that you learned that day. So most catchers and most baseball players are not journaling. So once you add this in, that's another feedback loop that you get every single day that helps you get better. The fourth and arguably most important part of feedback is going to be coach feedback, and that will be feedback from me. So when you submit your video to me, I'll be able to use a screen recording and draw lines on your body, on your glove, what you're doing, and give you the individualized, specific feedback you need in order to get better. Because if you work on the wrong things in the wrong order, you're not going to get better. So my feedback, the coach feedback, will help you to work on the right things in the right order so that you can learn to move correctly so that we can advance your skill development as a catcher. And the fourth and final pillar is accountability. Because what do you think happens if you have the perfect plan, perfect drills, and the perfect feedback, but you don't actually do the work? You guessed it, nothing happens. You don't get any better. So that accountability will come from me, and it will probably come from the person sitting next to you as you watch this video, typically your mom or your dad. They care about you, they want to see you win, and they want to help you become the best you can be. So listen to them. I know sometimes it can be hard, but trust me, you want to listen to them. They care about you a lot. So on top of that, you also get a weekly group coaching call where you get to connect with other catchers, ask me questions, and we get to talk about the mental game, about the skills that you're learning, and talk about the things that we're learning as a group together. So that's the overview of the program and the 4 pillars of transformation. If you made it this far, then that means that you're interested. And I need you to listen really closely to this. There's 2 things that you would need to do if you were to hop into this program. The first thing you need to send me is a video of you doing the drill every single day. The second thing that you'd need to do is send me a picture of the journal that you write, and you would send that to me every day. So a quick little recap, you have to send me a video and a picture. The video is of the drill for that day, and the picture is of the journal for what you learned for that day. This is really, really critical because, like I said, if you don't actually do the work, then you're not gonna get that much better. But if you do the work, I promise you, you will have incredible results. I have not had a single person who's gone through the program, did the work, and didn't have exceptional results. So now you might be wondering, well, how the heck do I get started? This sounds like the perfect program and that it was designed for me. Well, I'll tell you what, I was you, so yes, I designed it exactly for you. This is the program that I wish that I had when I transitioned to a catcher. So here's how you get started. You can book a call with me. There should be a link right down beneath this video, or you can go to catchingmadesimple.com/call. And when you book a time, we can hop on the phone and connect. Now, I need both the catcher and the parent to be there. This is really important. If you're a catcher and you want to do this, you can't book a call unless your parent is there with you. You both need to be there. When we hop on that call, I'll ask you some questions, learn a little bit more about you, and if the program seems like it might be a good fit for you, then we'll talk through what you need to do to be the most successful that you can be as you go through this, so that you don't forget about doing the work and that you have a plan in place to make sure that you do the work every day. From there, if it looks good, I'll send you a payment link, and in that payment document link, there will be a spot where you can put your address, and it will be critically important that you put your address there, because once you buy that, I'll get the notification, I'll see your address, and I'm going to Amazon Prime you a tripod and a journal so that you have all the resources that you need in order to complete Catch Core. So that's what it looks like. Again, it's a daily video coaching program that's 4 weeks long, covers the 4 main fundamentals of catching: how to get into a good stance, how to receive pitches, how to block, and how to throw. So if Catch Core sounds like something that you want to do, book a call, catchingmadesimple.com/call, or there should be a link or a button somewhere right around this video that you can use to book a call with me, and we can talk through where you're at, where you're trying to go, and how this program can help you get there. All right, can't wait to connect. I'll see you soon.